Hi friends, this is Amber and I'm coming to you from my flower shop here in Atlanta, Georgia. This is what we're going to make today. A beautiful hydrangea arrangement. Please join me. Welcome to my brand new YouTube channel where I give you a sneak peek into the behind the scenes of running a flower shop, and I show you how I make some of my creations for my customers. Today we're going to start with a beautiful hydrangea bouquet. Let's get started. So today we're going to use a variety of different hydrangeas. We've got blue, we've got a gorgeous white, and then one of my favorites that lasts a really long time are these mini green kiwi hydrangeas. Now, if you've ever worked with hydrangeas before, you'll know that they get kind of fussy, and if you don't take care of them correctly, they'll start to wilt, and I'll give you a few tips later on in this video of how to save your wilting hydrangeas. Let's go ahead and jump right in. All right, so what I'm going to do is prepare my vase, and I'm using floral tape. Now, all the supplies and tools that I'm mentioning in this video, there'll be a link down in the description of where you can get these yourself. So this is a floral tape. It's specially made for the floral industry. You don't want to use your regular Scotch tape. And what we're going to do is use this to tape a grid on top to help hold the flowers exactly where I want them to be. So I'm just going to go through, and for this one I don't want the grid to be too tight. So I'm just going to do 3 across each way. And by the way, when I go through this entire demonstration, I'm going to be going through it fairly quickly. I suggest you just watch the whole video and then you can go back later if you're trying to do this exact arrangement, and you can pause it as you go through the steps. And that I might make it look a little easier than it is, so just allow yourself enough time, maybe double the time it takes me on your first round. After I tape my 3x3, I'm just going to take the tape and secure the little bottoms so that it doesn't pop off. It's important that your vase is completely dry when you do this grid, otherwise the tape won't stick. But once it's in place, it's pretty much waterproof. A lot of times when I start a flower arrangement, I'll start with the greenery first. But because these flower heads have so much volume, I don't want to waste too much greenery that will therefore take up the water in the vase. So we're going to start with the hydrangeas first, and then we'll go back and fine-tune with the greenery. Now what I want to do is start with the largest blooms. You'll see these hydrangeas, I have not processed them at all so that I can show you how I do it. Hydrangeas really like a lot of water, and a lot of times when you see them starting to wilt, there could be a couple of different things that you're doing wrong. One, they have too many leaves on the stems because the water flows up the stem and reaches the leaves first, which is good because the leaves help pull the water up the stem. But if you have too many leaves, they're taking up all the water. So this is pretty good, but I might want to take a few off of some of these others. This one's good, this one's good. I'll take them off as I go along. The other really important thing about hydrangeas is where you cut them on the stems. Now going back to the leaves, pulling the water up the stem so that it can get to the beautiful head, it's important that you cut it above these nodes where the leaves originally were during the growth. Now you'll see if you cut below the node, you're making the water work through all this fibrous material before it shoots up the stem. So it makes sense to cut above the node to give the water a running start. Also, when you're designing, it's always better to keep your flowers too tall than to cut them too short, obviously, in the beginning. You can always go back and make them shorter. So here you see a node I'm going to cut at an angle. And again, cutting at an angle is a really good idea because it gives the stem more surface space to hit the water. Okay, now I'm just going to start with a couple of these. I also always spin my arrangement as I'm designing so that you get a nice balance. Okay, see how the tape is really helping to hold these up. Okay, got a couple more. I want this to be a fairly tall arrangement, so I'm not going to cut them too short. And I also like a semi-asymmetrical design so that it's not too contrived. Okay, I've got the white ones in now. We're going to move to the blue. Again, cutting above the node. See, it's already starting to take shape. And the different colors give it different texture. And I like to work with the leaves. You just don't want a bunch down here. Spinning as you go. Okay. A couple more blues and then we'll go into the greens. So happy. Okay, now these green ones do have a lot of leaves. The green ones will continue to grow and get fuller as they drink, but you really don't want too many leaves on there. And I'm just going to use these as a little pop of color in between the big guys. Oops, I forgot a blue hydrangea. Let's find a home for this one. And I'm going to get these two leaves off. There we go. And then take another green one. And I'm going to put this guy over here. Just a few more. Now you'll notice this guy actually isn't standing straight up. It's kind of got a head that's tilted, which you'll also find a lot with sunflowers because their head kind of gets big. So you just want to angle it so that you're getting the most surface space as you're displaying the beautiful flower. And I'll show you what I mean here. See, I've kind of angled it so you can see it from the side. Okay, a few more. Cutting above the node. I'm a florist, so I make a huge mess as I'm doing this. I probably sweep maybe 5 times a day. You'll notice stems are flying all around me during my videos, but I want to be authentic. That's really how I work. Okay, another beautiful one. Spinning as we go. Okay, you might even want to raise a few of these as we get going here. All right, one more green. Where do I want this to go? You know what? I want this one to be at the top, make it a little taller. Okay. I take all my leaves, sweep them on the floor. So already this arrangement looks really pretty, very full and gorgeous, but I'm not quite done yet. I want to add a woody element to this arrangement, and then I'm going to finish it off with a little bit of greens like we mentioned when we started. The woody element that I'm going to use are these. They're called fan-tailed pussy willow, and I just love them. They dry just like this too. They're actually still living, but they do dry just like this, and I think it just gives a really awesome, whimsical, dramatic effect. So you just stick these guys in. I love the twirls. Okay. Spin as I go. I've got a couple more pieces here. I want that one a little lower. Okay. And they're a little hard to cut. And one last cut. Dramatic, right? I love it. Okay, my final touch, which to be honest is a little hard to get in the main world of grocery stores and farmers market. This is Italian ruscus, but if you are lucky enough to have a beautiful yard or garden, you can just get some whimsical greenery to add to your arrangements. And what I'm going to do is just have this sort of, again, dramatically peeking out. And it also kind of widens and gives movement to this arrangement that helps balance off the dramatic sticks. Okay. Spinning as I go. I'm spinning a little more than I normally would because I want you to see what I'm doing. Okay. Now, before we finish this off, I'm going to give you a couple of tips on how to take care of your wilting hydrangeas. So if you see a hydrangea wilting, but it hasn't gone too far off yet, go ahead and give it a fresh cut above that node and give it about 20 to 30 minutes. And if it hasn't completely perked up yet, you could take your bloom and actually dunk it upside down into the water and let it sit there for 45 minutes or so. The colder the water, the better. And then you take it and gently shake it out, recut the stem again, give it an hour, and it should perk right back up. The key is doing that before the flower is completely wilted. So here is our gorgeous hydrangea arrangement. Pretty easy to make, very dramatic. There's one final touch, a product I want to show you that we florists use. It's called Crown and Glory, and I will have a link to it at the bottom of my description, so you can get this yourself on Amazon. I would love it if you do use my link because I do get a little bit of credit for that, so thank you for your support. But this is magic when it comes to hydrangeas. You just spray the heck out of these flowers and they will hold. Depending on the hydrangea and how much you spray them, a lot of times they'll dry in place, just like this. Now, this is a spray, it's a preservative spray, and for lack of a better description, it's kind of like a clear waxy coating. And what it does is it helps lock in the moisture of flowers. So this is one of the very first florist secrets I'm sharing with y'all. I coat my flowers with this. You can almost not do too much when it comes to hydrangeas. The other flowers not so much, because if you cover them too much, you actually start to get a little bit of reflection. This works so well that actually on Valentine's days, my customers call me 2 weeks later and say their roses are still looking gorgeous. So that's my secret. Don't tell everybody. There will be a link in the description of this video, and I ask please do use that link to purchase this. I do end up getting a little bit of credit, and I really appreciate your support. So I hope you enjoyed this demonstrational video and that you will enjoy making one of these for yourself. Thanks again.